Hey everybody, welcome to Vertical MRO, the podcast where we dive deep into the minds of visionaries, trailblazers, and industry leaders who are shaping the future. I'm your host, Val Medved, and today we have an exceptional guest whose journey through the aviation industry is nothing short of inspiring. Reid Selover. Reid is the VP and General Manager of Essential Turbines, ETI, U.S. offices, where he has been driving innovation and excellence since May 2022. With his leadership, ETI remains a world-class Rolls-Royce 250 engine repair and overhaul facility, continuously expanding its capabilities to provide cost-saving aftermarket solutions. Reid's strategic vision has enabled the company to support various facets of the helicopter industry, including police, firefighting, aeromedical, agricultural, utility, tourism, and oil and gas sectors. In less than 8 months, he oversaw an establishment of a 145 repair station and a new facility demonstrating his ability to lead rapid, impactful changes. His efforts included renovating production areas, building new tooling, and securing staffing, training, and service agreements. The addition of the U.S. branch under his guidance has significantly increased ETI's capability and market impact, opening new opportunities in OEM, military, and commercial sectors. Knowing Reid on a personal level, there's probably a lot of Red Bull involved on this one. Before his current role, Reid made significant strides as the sales and BD development manager at X-Tex Engineered Products, where he led a team to about 3.5 times its expansion across multiple segments and by aligning sales, business development, and customer service activities. His tenure at Able Aerospace saw him rise from production leadership to senior sales roles, consistently achieving remarkable growth and customer satisfaction. With a career starting in the Army as a Ranger, Reid's journey through the aviation industry is marked by his relentless pursuit of excellence, strategic innovation, and unwavering commitment to customer success. Today, we'll explore Reid's unique insights in aviation maintenance, leadership, and innovative strategies he has implemented to drive success. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and motivated. Without further ado, let's welcome Reid Selover. Welcome to Vertical MRO. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Bell and Safe Structure Designs.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO Podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO Podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now, line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Val Medved back with your Vertical MRO. Today, this week, we had a great guest. Brief outline of this young feller is he's Army Ranger, former Army Ranger, for a very long time, a very young age. Transplanted Arizona guy from the West Coast, family man through and through, avid firearms collector and overall grinder for getting all the good stuff done in business. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Reid Selover. Say hi, Reid. What's up?
Hey, buddy.
What's cracking, bro?
Nice intro. Thank you very much.
Yeah, looking spry. Looking spry. You got the haircut again?
Every Sunday.
Yeah, that's nice. It's high and tight. Well done.
It's the only one I know, buddy.
Yeah.
I cut it myself every Sunday.
Well, and where you live down in Arizona there, you kind of need that short haircuts. There's no way that a thick-headed individual. I don't know how people do it with long hair down there. That's nuts.
I haven't had long hair since the 80s when I was rocking a mullet.
Oh.
And, that was, I think that went away my freshman year.
Mullet.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Oh,
Mullet.
yeah. I had the rat tail. I had all that, dude.
Oh, and what kind of wheels were you rocking at that point, buddy?
Car-wise?
Yeah, car-wise, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was broke, dude. There was no wheels. I mean, there might have been some joyriding, but I could not confirm or deny that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no wheels for me, buddy.
For litigious purposes, right?
Right.
Yeah, nice.
Emergencies only.
Emergencies only. Well, welcome to Vertical MRO, bro. It's finally good to have you on here.
Dude, I'm a fan. I told you I started, as you were popping them out, and then and then I got behind, a lot of travel, a lot of work gets in the way, so I binged.
Yep.
And then ran out a while ago. But
you recognize a couple of the guests?
Oh yeah, listen, I was telling Janine this as a matter of fact. I mean, you really we're bringing out some big guns, like serious business, like some real players. You're hitting your Rolodex for sure.
I'm the young pup of the Vertical Helicast team here, so I figured I should kind of come up with some weight on it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to take notes, buddy.
Yeah, nice. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
We're at the portion of the show where I'm going to ask you, unlike what's in your wallet, what's in your hand, man? What you drinking?
Pick this up special for today.
Yes.
Angel's Envy in the glass that you purchased for me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and just so that we're all popular here, or at least we know here, there's a glass that I was able to get, and it was Reid's glass there. It's what if this ever makes it onto video here, it says Reid's pour. It's at the top of the.
Yeah. Single, double, Reid's pour.
I'm drinking a little Gretzky's here for you. Cheers.
Cheers, amigo.
And we should approach them for sponsorship. They're on a lot of my shows.
They really are. Oof. Yeah. Ooh, that is good stuff. Woo.
Yeah.
Woo.
Like I said, I've said it before. It is a reminder that God loves us when you drink the good stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So welcome, brother. So we're at a part where I'm going to try to kind of get you a little loosened up. Just kind of introduced you now. So thanks. First and foremost, even though I'm not American, I will thank you for your service there, buddy. And I know what you did in the past. There was always a kind of you guys don't get enough compliments, so I'll pass that on to you. And I'm sure everybody who's listening appreciates it as well, brother. So thanks for that.
It was a fun job.
But we're going to go into the icebreaker section of it now here. So I'm going to crack it off here with like just kind of get you feeling a little bit open up on things.
Okay.
What was one you experienced you tried that was completely unknown or uncomfortable to you at the time you tried it?
Yeah. So this was probably, oh man, it must have been just pre-COVID. Janine and I were, the girls are getting older, they're getting out, they're doing their own thing. And we wanted to do some different stuff together, try some new things we hadn't done. So we did ballroom dancing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fred Astaire, look at you, Pops.
Actually, I think it was a Fred Astaire class. It was like one of those, it's a chain in the US, Yeah. So, and by the way, I couldn't duplicate or replicate a single step that we learned or we did, but there were some good pictures. But listen, It was, it's cheesy and goofy and awkward. And, I take things serious. So I was very, let's go, hold your arms right. I was,
you're prim and proper.
Yeah. I was, if you're going to do something, you go all in. And I was like, they kept telling me calm down, but I was going to master that. But yeah, we did that for about a year.
You were on the mission.
Yeah.
Ballroom dancing. Whew. That's
it's good. Their shoes are dorky. The pants are dorky. I just wear, I wore like business shoes and jeans. So
yeah.
I didn't get that far into it, but it's awkward, man. It's for sure awkward.
Trying to look elegant with two left feet.
Here comes Shrek on the dance floor is what it is.
Oh yeah. More like I'd be Donkey. I'd for sure be Donkey.
Oh my.
Walking into this now, because we're just going to kind of walk down the journey a little bit with you there, buddy. Just to kind of have everybody kind of share the walk with you. Talk me through where you started, how you got in there, and we'll kind of just progressively walk in, because you started on the West Coast. You're a California boy, transplanted.
Well, you're going to like pre-industry.
Yeah, pre-industry. Just kind of give me a little bit of, because it's all indicative of who you are and where you are today. So
sure.
So it's Mike, the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, listen, I grew up in a place called Modesto, California. I've always made the comment that we were known for our major exports being methamphetamines and serial killers. We had a few.
Okay.
It's Central Valley, California, wine country. There's not much out there. If you go back there today, it looks kind of the same as it did when I left back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I was a troubled young man and growing up in California. So I left at 16 years of age, came out to Arizona to live with my mom, who had already been out here for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I came out to finish my senior year of high school. I graduated at 17. I knew at a young age, growing up watching Arnold and, Chuck Norris, Missing in Action and all those war movies. I knew early on I was going to be military.
Mm-hmm.
So 7 days after I graduated high school, I was in Fort Benning, Georgia, home of the infantry.
Wow.
And that's where you go through your infantry training and your advanced stuff, and then your technical training, but it's infantry, so it's a lot of shooting stuff, blowing stuff up, and a lot of tactical things.
Yep,
and then went to jump school, and then the Ranger Indoctrination Program, where I became a part of First Ranger Battalion. It was an incredible job, and it was. Go ahead.
What was the coolest thing you jumped out of? You said you went to jump school?
Hot air balloon. Yeah, so we didn't do that. We didn't do that in jump school. When you jump with other countries or you jump with other militaries, because a lot of missions that you go on, a lot of times that you're deployed with and Rangers is a smaller group. It's a focused group.
Sure.
So there's specific mission parameters or profiles. And so normally when you go into another country, you do stuff with their military. And we jumped, that was the Thai Rangers we jumped with. And we jumped out of balloons, and we did some ramp blasts off Chinooks and some
nice.
C-130 stuff, C-141s.
Yeah.
We did a bunch of jumping out there. We were out there for a little bit. But the balloons were what was interesting about that, because it was still a static line jump. You could hear the retention band snapping from the static line as you fell down. It was quiet and calm and beautiful. It was a fun jump.
Just jumping out of just approaching a Chinook, tell me that wasn't charging enough to kind of get your blood boiling or blood bubbling at that particular moment.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it was always fun. In retrospect, I can tell you this, like real bro talk here.
Yeah, bro talk.
There's when you're getting ready to jump, no one says, "Oh, this is crazy," because you jump at night most of the time. You're jumping into nothing. You're jumping into darkness, generally speaking. So you don't see anything. And the moon actually lights up quite a bit. But we never said like, "Oh man, what?" We always were like very focused. See you on the ground, buddy. It was like that was kind of our don't get this wrong. See you on the ground. Make sure everything's okay.
All appendages still attached. Everything's good.
Yeah, I've had some crazy landings. The two softest landings I ever had, one was in a tree, and one was in a rice paddy.
Okay, we'll move on. So you're in the service. You become a Ranger. You do what you need to get done. You walk through. You become a civilian after how many years in the service?
5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for the service, buddy. And this side of the border, thanks. Listen, Canadian military force isn't the big one, but we as Canadians do appreciate our U.S. brethren kind of always looking after us. So thanks for that.
Of course.
Jumping into you're back into the private life. What broken part of your brain said helicopters is a good idea? Because we're all fun with it, right? So it's like, walk us through that process here.
For sure. Yeah. So, I got to back up a little bit because
please.
I've always had a thing for aviation. I always had a thing for aviation. My grandfather was a torpedo bomber pilot in World War II. So as soon as he could take me away from my parents to go see air shows, we were there. I did aerobatics at 11 years old. Every chance to be on a flight line, we were there. And I got that addiction really young to look up and try to identify what was overhead, whether it be fixed-wing or rotor-wing.
Sure.
In fact, when I went into the Army, my grandfather was very upset with me because I didn't go into the Navy and become a naval aviator. I went to the Army and then started jumping out of planes, and he legit didn't talk to me for 2 or 3 years, once he found out what I was doing. And then when I got out, I happened into aviation. On one of the deployments, I met a Navy SEAL who we were doing some things together, and we were both Arizona boys. And he said, "Look him up." When I got back, and I did. And I said, "Hey man, I need a civilian job." He gave me an interview, or got me an interview at Able Engineering.
Okay.
So this was in 1999.
So then that's where you started feeding the addiction.
Well, I didn't know what I was going to do when I was growing up yet. So, I was still relatively young, I was 24, getting on 24 years of age or whatever it was, not even. It's like 22, 23 years old.
Life just coming at you pretty fast at that point.
Yeah. I was trying to figure it out. I've always been handy, good with my hands, good mechanical skills,
Sure.
Those type of things. So I started as a QA tech. So I was working through an FAA audit. I was good with attention to detail. But that job on the administrative role kept me busy, maybe 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week. I was bored fast. So I went out in the shop and I would ask these questions. Hey, how do you do that? How do you fix this? What do you about this? And I ended up spending most of my time in the shop, and then started doing jobs when, I said, hey, I got this. Let me do this one. And, so I was kind of working on aircraft product and then doing my admin function as a separate piece to the job.
Gotcha.
And then as we evolved and started to grow really quickly, there's an opportunity to run the shop, and I started to run some of the teams and do some of that stuff. So really, I learned. That's how I ended up in maintenance and in aviation. I was just curing a boredom from the administrative functions.
Well, and that's, it's the hunger and the thrive to kind of want more for yourself. So that's commendable on every level, because everybody that I've ever talked to here in our industry has kind of almost done the exact same thing. Like, look what Kevin did back, a couple of shows ago there, where he talked about jumping in a 737 with WestJet he's in a jump seat. All of a sudden he's got the bug for the helicopters. Right. So going back here, like with your time at Able, so you're now kind of, you're able to kind of, jump in there and basically take over on the repair side, or is it like, talk to me a little bit about your time there with.
Thank you to our sponsors, Safe Structure Designs. Safe Structure Designs specializes in custom aircraft maintenance stands and hangar equipment, boosting hangar efficiency by 50% and enhancing technician safety. With over 20 years of experience alongside real-world aircraft technicians, SAFE develops industry-leading ergonomic safety solutions. Why not take advantage of SAFE's free custom design process for your safety and efficiency needs, and let them create your ideal solution? Visit www.safe-2.com to learn more.
Yeah, so it was the right environment for me and our mentality, and it was a pretty gangster place in terms of, because nothing that we did existed anywhere else. We would have an idea of how to fix something, and if you wanted to make it work, then what you had to do was you had to kind of develop your plan to fix it, what the end result was going to be. Mm-hmm. There were no tools that existed to facilitate the repair. So there was a lot of tool manufacturing that we did, where it was machining, running a lathe or running a mill or welding. And, back in those days, a lot of selective brush plating. So it was a lot of carbon and platinum modifications that you'd have to do. And you would make these, you would develop these repairs. And then the engineers would, our engineers here are, degreed engineers, where they go through and they get that specific accreditation, and they were able to translate what we did in the repair into a process and get the FAA, the DER approval, essentially.
Yep.
And we would do that quickly, and we would take the repairs far and beyond what people expected, and it really took off fast, because I liked the ability that, I liked that everything was different every other day. I liked to create things.
Yeah.
There was a bit of an art form and some elven magic to it, for sure. I was surrounded by these guys that were just absolute wizards. And Dan Lamone, one of my best friends, best man at my wedding.
Shout it out, brother.
This guy showed me everything. He knew everything in terms of plating and masking and and he'd already been in the industry for many, many years.
Okay.
And taught me how to run these machines and do these things and make these things work.
So you're sorry to jump in here. You're primarily onto the plating side of it. Is that where you kind of, that's where you kind of got to learn the chemical side of the plating, plating application to the parts? Yeah.
So my good buddy and another wizard at this job, Brian Bunko, he said we were the best bushing makers on the planet. It was about, finding damage in something and figuring out how to fill that damage, that void in that damage. Now, whether it was through coatings or platings or plasma, or not plasma sprays, but like cold sprays or bushings or whatever it was, we would find that solution. And, so that's where we were really a plating shop and machine shop and fabrication shop, and you could do a lot with all those things.
And what did you think the key, like, was it just the attention to detail in the small parts to kind of make it that successsul, or were the throw together
culture? Yeah, hell yeah,
okay.
Man. And Lee Benson was a big driver of those things, and the founding three actually was Lee Benson, John Jackson, and Rick Watts, and those guys. They gave us the tools, and they said, go out there and get after it as hard as you want. And they gave us the space to do it. And as long as you, lived and breathed those values that we all agreed upon, we all sat in a room once and said, this is the best guy on their best day. What do the traits of that best guy on his best day look like? And we all agree that that's how we should act around each other if we're going to grow this business. And
super pro.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was.
Yeah,
it was hard, and it was, and you had to justify yourself, and you had to bring to the table every time. But it was that's what I would attribute that stuff to. Is it was a bunch of those guys.
One of my past guests, one of your good friends, Anthony Sands, he paid a lot of tribute to that as well too. So,
well, Anthony's a personal mentor, professionally, one of a fantastic. I love Anthony Sands, great guy.
Yep, AFS. Well, anybody who sees us, just ask what AFS is, because it's probably, we shouldn't be kind of dropping that kind of language on a podcast. Nice. So it's what else do you call him?
Yeah.
The guy walks on water with a lot of people, right? So he's a good man. Well, like the podcast that I was able to record with him, he focused in a lot of kind of what you just said, a lot of hard work, a lot of accountability, listening to the elders, if you will, and the attention to detail for the succession of it all. So it's
you got to pay attention.
Glad you said that, because yeah. So your time, you had a long time there at Able, 18 years.
Yeah, just short of 18 years. Yeah.
Wow. That's a grind, brother.
Yeah.
That's a grind. So then so you're on the repair side of the world, and clearly you're kicking ass and taking names along the way. And now they recognize this, and what was the next progressional step from there?
And listen, I was for sure trying to figure out my space and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. I knew that what I was good at, but as the business changed and grew and different things, I was I have to be able to, I have to have that space to reinvent. So Brian Bunk, I had mentioned him already, another very close friend. If I had a son, I'd name him Brian. We were out on a hunt.
Not Val? Not Val, bro?
That's name my other son, Val.
Okay, I got it. All right.
Yeah. The adopted son, that needs
the adopted one that eats crayons, right? Thanks, Chief.
To bring
I appreciate you.
Previous podcast, bless his heart. I'd name him Val.
Hey, up yours.
We were on a hunting trip, and I said, man, I got to get out of this production stuff. I need to, get out and do something different. I almost left aviation a couple of times. And he said, and I had an opportunity with Tony Mateer, who was one of the former owners, and he was running the sales team at the time. Gave me a chance to come up to the front of the business. By the way, in between all those things, I had, when I was getting ready to leave, I'd gone to flight school. I was a helicopter pilot. Yeah. I was flying full time. I was doing these things because I was planning my exit. And then Able had switched from a 70-30 to almost an 80-20 fixed wing to rotor wing to fixed wing. And
wow,
I could either go fly back and forth out at the oil rigs, or do the racetrack through Vegas, or stick in aviation maintenance. And it was, Janine and I were newly married, and Sophia was just a baby at the time. So, it made more sense to stay where I was. But yeah, front of the business is how I ended up there as an account manager. And I never thought myself as a sales guy, but just like you see on these podcasts that you've been having, you get out there and you meet these people, and it's like-minded individuals. It's, I don't have to know everything. I don't claim to. I don't have to.
It's the success of your team that you count upon, that kind of you're the front of it, right? So you're able to kind of bring that up to
100%. And I found the team in the market. We were talking about some of your previous guests. These guys became our market team. You get out in front of these guys and you talk to them well, first of all, we get to go fly. We get to go be around helicopters. We get to look at stuff and talk about the things that we love, and we love everything about these aircraft. And man, it was easy from there.
And that's the other thing too, dude. You kind of you spoke about it super quick though, but like you're almost becoming a pilot. Like I know you can fly, right? You're like you have a certified pilot license.
Yeah. I'm a licensed pilot for sure. Yeah, well, my intention was at the time was I'd been accepted with Phoenix PD. I was getting ready. I'd been accepted. Started the police academy. I'd started the police academy, and I blew my freaking ACL, MCL, and PCL at an Able softball game of all things. And so I was in a brace from my hip to my ankle for 8 months because I didn't have it cut and re-solder together. I let it heal naturally. Then when I got out of that, that's when I went to flight school. So my plan was to be a police officer and then go fly little birds, I went over the city. That's what I thought was a pretty slick freaking go fast job, but didn't work out.
Oh, look, here we are today. So thanks for keeping that ticket still alive there with being a pilot. So good on you.
Well, listen, every chance I get to fly, I go fly. Someone says, "Hey, I want to move this aircraft over here. Do you want to go?" Yep, I got it. No problem. So
you got to tell our listeners here about your cool story on the Gold Coast. Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out to the Murrays in Southern Australia. Forced Air. They were flying the Eagle Single from the Sunshine Coast down to Coffs Harbour, and it was me and in the 212 and the other guys in the 407, and I'm sitting right seat calling out traffic. And Murray goes, "Hey, you fly?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a pilot." And he's like, "It's yours." So I took over the aircraft, and we're heading south down the coast on the East Coast. So I got the ocean out my left, and I see a flash of white out in the ocean out there, and I said, "Is that at Wales?" And he goes, "I don't know." And so I hard over, head beeline for what I thought was the splash, and I was like, "Oh man, they've got to hear the big beast of these the prop wash coming," because I'm at like 150, 200 feet AGL, maybe. I'm like just above the water, and just as I'm banking right to get back to the coast, this big freaking humpback whale comes just barreling out of the water underneath the aircraft, and everybody's on my side of the aircraft now trying to look, and I'm trying to take a picture, and it was funny. And by the way, I don't fly for a living, so we're coming to Coffs, and I'm looking for where we're landing, and he's kind of guiding me put it over there. So I'm coming in kind of sideways, and I come all the way in, and we sat down sideways, and we were at dinner that night, and they're like, do you always land the aircraft sideways? And the Murrays without a skip and a beat and go, how do you do it? They didn't have to say anything. It was amazing. It was, but yeah, that was my,
nice. They had your back.
That one went in the logbook for sure. That was a blast. That was an amazing 3.5 hour flight.
Yeah. So, okay. You're coming up there. You're considering a career change. We kind of rewinded a little bit here, kind of going back, and you almost became a cop. Let's fast forward a little bit here. So you kind of got put into a different role at Able. So you kind of rolled that up there with now taking charge as an account manager.
Yeah. Well, I'm I'm a hungry guy. I'm an intentional guy, and there was an opportunity to take over some of the other regions for some of the folks.
Sure.
And I did that without hesitation, and I just quickly. I'm a team guy, and I can put together value and vision really quickly. And to me, it was, it was a lot of fun just to go and win and grab do these things with, like-minded individuals. So, I ended up getting most of Asia Pac. So a lot of the Aussies and the Kiwis.
Hard territory.
It was. I mean, there's a lot of territory is what it is. And we were still coming up in the industry,
Yep.
We'd been through some bouts internally and externally, and we came out on the other side strong. And we were it was at that point in in that company's history where it was really turning on and it was going fast.
Yep.
So that fit me real well. And having the background that I did in terms of repair knowledge and how to fix things and all that stuff, it really it allowed me certain liberties to go and move things in a certain direction for the customer.
Sure.
And it was really not against the organization, but for the organization, but really also for the customer of the organization.
Yep.
And we used to have signs all over that place that it was the customer that was secured our paycheck, not the company we worked for. So that was really ingrained in us. But it was, you've been a BD guy for a long time now, and getting around these guys and these wizards and climbing around these aircraft, it's awesome.
Yeah. You're taken back, and if you can kind of culture your team to kind of really have a mentality of, our customers are the ones that kind of really, we have to support them. We're gaining a friendship as well, in addition to their business relationship. And sometimes a lot of people think, you guys sales guys really, like, how hard is your job? Like, you go into a room and read it. Like, it's not easy.
Well,
it's not easy.
Well, listen, we worked together pretty close for a while there. And I've always said that, cause that whole sales guy, mentality, I don't understand that, but really the guys that are good at what we do are leaders. They understand putting together a team. They understand communication and value and exchange of value. And those are the things that really make guys like us successful in this industry,
Sure.
And I'll tell you that, I'd love to beat my chest and tell you how great I did in that organization for as long as I did. But when I left is when I really got to kind of spread my wings a bit.
Sure. Sure.
Build my team my way,
Yeah. Well, insert our relationship.
Right.
Yeah. Insert our relationship. So, you come on board now to another company here. It's a parts manufacturer in the aftermarket division here. And now you're looking at, what are these guys doing? How can I really blow this up? And counting on the relationships you had developed with Able, that at that time, the company was probably a little smaller than you were used to.
Yeah. Well, listen, it was a lot of opportunity for sure. Because whatever they were or before us and when we got there, our intention was to make it different and go fast to do that. And it was really about,
it was a grind.
Well, for sure, but it was also aligning good talent and good communication and good team.
Yeah.
And that was what, to be honest, as I'll say it 1,000 times, I look back over the things that we talked about. My biggest takeaways weren't what I learned how to do. It was the examples of the leaders that I followed, and that was what I think that's the difference in my career and what I've been able to do, and what I plan to do going forward, is the examples that are out there for us to follow. Trevor Moab wrote a book about it, talking about success has clues. If you follow these things where people want to, how they win, duplicate those things, and win. But yeah, building team is, that's the fun part.
Well, any non-AMEs, business development guys, sales guys, marketing guys, VPs that are kind of going to be listening to this podcast, I'll tell you that it's none of this comes without the efforts of a lot of a lot of challenges.
Sure.
And by challenges, we worked on a couple of really big ones here, and it took a while, but they finally took time to ignite. But there's a lot of no's. There was a lot of learning lessons, a lot of curves. We kind of had to go along the way to kind of make that successful. So if there's any piece of advice, I would probably say just keep at it, be diligent.
Yeah, and there's no shortcuts. There's a recurring theme in your podcasts, and these guys, Worky said it the other, when I listened the other day, he goes, there's not too many guys that'll be out there in the middle of the rain with a flashlight in their mouth trying to solve the problem.
Yeah, you're right.
And you don't get that jumping to the front of the line. That's a dues paid.
You bank on that. You actually, that's, and for lack of a better term there, when you're really talking about building a team, you're building a team around the success of that individual's Rolodex, and kind of having their knowledge of what the people that they can call upon real quick to kind of either get a problem solved or to help with the problem that they're looking for an answer to. Right. So
sure.
Yeah. So now you're at you're at the next company here, and we're moving on, and you and I are on quite a bit of a road trip, quite a bit of the time, lots of travel, lots of grinding, and kind of getting some work done. We're seeing different parts of the world. And then COVID hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a mental stressing time, because we were going from about 50 to 75% travel down to zero real fast.
Bell Training Academy proudly supports Vertical Helicasts. Experience hands-on technical training with dedicated maintenance aircraft to keep your skills sharp and your Bell aircraft operating at peak performance. Register for a technical course by September 30th and get $100 to Bell's gift shop. Visit bell.co/training.
Yeah, 2018, I think I was gone more than I was home. And 2019 was a close second to that, for sure. We were, well, listen, that's what you do when you're, blowing up a small business and, making it grow and getting your, you're paying your dues, doing your part. It takes a lot of, and listen, that paid out in droves. I mean, that was, all that was, to use your words, the juice was worth the squeeze. That was it was a lot. Yeah. And thank God, Janine's in aerospace.
So she understands.
Talk about an example to follow.
Brag about your family, dude. So you're a dad, you're a husband.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we surround ourselves by these mentors and these leaders and these industry giants, these people that look at these things and they don't have a quit. She's a great example of that. Is just absolute dominate the room, absolute go after those things, and then do that while it's given me the space to go out and grind the way we did. Kristen, same thing. Yeah. She was holding down with your boys and, still working a job while we're out there, getting after it.
You're right. There's a lot of success.
We could not have done that without them.
Not a chance.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. No, not a chance. And that's we'll pay a little tribute here to the spouses and the partners of the individuals that are out there doing the same, male or female. Like it's your partner that kind of gives you the success and strength that you need. And that back at the home front, whether you have a family or if you're a couple without kids, it's the fact that they're holding it down. They're actually that support from the home front is probably the paramount reason for anybody's success.
So for sure. And, they're also the ones that give you that eye, because we're the dumb.
You're bullshit. And they're going to call you.
Well, we're also the dumb, the dumb grunts that are just going to keep going, and it sucks. We're just going to keep going. They go, hey, you're going to be home this month. And and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. I should be home. I should be home for a little bit. And they really in, and that again, solid leadership and,
I came back to this role knowing that, like my boys are a little bit older, and it was, we had a little more kind of couple of roots down. So this was my second kick at the company, and we were able to kind of again, talking over with my wife, Kristen, and we kind of just basically discussed that, at that time, I think my boys were 16 and 14. So they're full-size men almost to the point.
Sure.
But that's that support system there, both professionally and personally. I think it's so overlooked. And you have to look at somebody that is a professional, and successful at professional. Anthony Saenz is a perfect example. Look where he sits, right? Yeah. He couldn't have done any of that without Patty supporting him and patting him on the back. And, I'll give you the credit here too, dude. Your family had to have kind of held you up to kind of make sure you did what you had to get done.
They still do.
And
they do daily.
Yeah. So you moved into, so at that point, you're particularly like a business development. You didn't have the director title at that point just yet.
Nope.
So that was because they didn't hand that out. So after 6 years, almost 7 years.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, the titles are important and all those things. It's really about roles and responsibilities. It's a small organization. And, I was looking at that and going, what do I want to be when I grow up still?
Sure.
And there was an opportunity and if you look at the trend, I love to build things. I love to build teams. I love to create stuff. I like some autonomy. I like some, get out of my way and let me grow something. And, man, that is it just gets me fired up. It just, really gets me wound up. And, there was this opportunity with Essential to, expand into, the Americas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's and Essential Turbines. Essential Turbines is a long-standing Rolls-Royce 250 and Larzac engine company that was founded in Montreal by Mike Gunner Senior and Junior. Senior being the absolute godfather. I praise that man anytime. Yeah, he's the godfather of the Rolls-Royce 250 engine. I think we spoke about. I think it was one of my first ones where I talked about. He's the one who listened through the phone and kind of told the tech to adjust the FCU. Right. Because he was whistling at a different pitch. So it's that is such tribal knowledge. Like that's crazy knowledge. So now they've expanded. So they have a facility in Vancouver. And now they decide to, hey, let's look into the desert and open up there. Insert Reid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it was we built when we were working together, we built a hell of a network, and we really did catalog expansion at overnight, and networking overnight. I mean, what we did was fast and aggressive and still paying. But it also put me next to Mike Jr. We were palling around, doing a lot of technical sales, doing a lot of around the planet, getting after it, and just became pals. And, again, goes back to what we've been saying all along this way throughout, it's like-minded people. It's getting at, it's work hard, it's play hard, it's win fast, it's go aggressive. You can get yourself around other people like that. And that was, Mike was really, really intent on growing that business as fast as he possibly could. And he had goals, he had a lot of goals. And, I was at a point in my life where it was time for my next thing. I had to make a decision if I was going to be, is it time to be a corporate guy and go do that and do really well and do those things? Or do I want to get back to my roots where I'm growing stuff, building stuff, making shops happen? And that was, wildly intriguing to me. And again, without my family, what a possibility, because I had to get, it came with a lot of sacrifice to go.
Sure it did. Absolutely.
To go and walk away from this easy cush job that pays really, really well to start over.
Easy.
It was easy, man. Travel is tough, but the winning was easy.
Yeah. It just took the effort. Yeah, you're right. So now you jump on board.
Yeah.
Now that you open up a U.S. facility down in the Mesa Gateway Airport.
Yep, that's right.
And you go your mentality of building things. Oh, I don't know. Let's build a shop.
Yeah.
Because an engine and or components and or stuff like that is just I've outgrown that stuff. So let's build a shop. Like, holy shit, can you take on another big task?
Yeah, well.
So the process of that. Okay.
It's what we did at Able. It's funny because I'm a stone's throw away from the place that started my aviation career, and I'm literally up the road. And I'm in 7,000 square foot versus their 270,000 square feet or whatever it is,
Right.
But making it work, finding a solution. It's not a purpose-built facility. How do we make it purposeful? How do we make it intentional?
Right.
How do we maintain the culture of a Canadian-born company into a U.S. Startup, essentially?
Mm-hmm.
And
I see what you did there. Essentially,
yeah, it fits. It fits. But listen, again, it got back to the things that get me ramped up. Building things and working my hands. I mean, working on scissor lifts and running the Ethernet cable throughout the facility, or rebuilding the restrooms, or whatever it is, man.
You're at ground zero. It was
do it again, and how cool we can make this without spending $1 bazillion, and bring in some kick-ass guys with the right kind of attitude and the right culture, and do all those things that make a company successful, make people want to be a part of it. And that's a blast.
Where are you now in the process? How long has that facility been there?
We took ownership of the building in February of last year. And then we had our air certificate awarded in September of that year. So right around 7 months mark it took from the time where we got the keys, knocked down all the walls, relit it, refloored it, repainted it, made it a shop. It took about 7 months to get the air cert tools installed. And when you do that, you really have to get to the point where you're doing maintenance without doing maintenance.
Yep.
Because you need to be able to demonstrate that to the FAA and get some great PMIs. Chuck and Randy are amazing dudes. Hope they stay with the FAA forever. They're great. I mean, they're great. I mean, they're just they're the guys you want in your corner, and they're rooting for you and giving you all the things you need.
Common sense guys.
Well, they're industry guys. They've been doing it a long time and they understand. And by the way, that's not a free pass. It's they know it. So if they see it out of whack, they're going to go, hey, here's a suggestion.
Yeah.
We did that. And because we have the size of facility we do as Essential Turbines, we have the capacity that can be managed in Montreal and Vancouver. And it really provided the Arizona shop a luxury and being able to focus on training and getting everybody stood up and getting a rhythm, getting a good cadence of work and those type of things, as we did the little nuanced things that you do as a shop and a business. But I think now we're doing, our organization is growing rapidly. I mean, we went through an acquisition this year, but that hasn't slowed it. It's turned it up.
And you're banking on the 30 plus years of industry experience there as well too. So like it all goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the team that you build around it. And I know as like being a former employee of Essential Turbines, there's guys in that shop there that are straight out of the AME program and they've been there for 10, 15, 20 years.
It's the only business they know.
So it's,
yeah.
Yep.
And
going
in full credit, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to credit back to junior and senior and Paul was a big part of that. When they brought Paul in to help maintain all those things. Joe Frizzle and Martin and all those boys, they grew up there. They
Frizzle's a savant.
Well, even more than that, they're
so good.
That they know so much, and then they're still able to keep the open mind. And that's where I was going back to senior and junior and their culture and what they've been able to install. And the new president called it the DNA. It really is the essential DNA. I mean, it's fun, man. It makes it easy.
Good.
When you're not fighting anybody, it's fun.
It's a culture. It's a culture system. Like it was stated in a few of our podcasts there. It really is the culture of building the team around you. You're going to go through your growing pains. There's no question. And it seems like they've done that earlier on. And that's just a part of the process. And here they go, well, let's expand into Vancouver. Now let's go into the US. Now we really are multinational. So Good for you for kind of stepping into that role and building a shop down from scratch.
The upside of that is you have all this great, strong history, this proud history, but it's a blank slate looking forward. Like we can do whatever we want, got an MOU this year or last year. Was it this year? This year. Yep. We joined the network last year. I mean, we're bringing on other platforms, other engines, other repair capabilities, it's wide open.
Yeah. It's again, tip my hat to you and that org. I consider you all good friends as well too. And we've had some shenanigans together. But, to use your verbiage there from, I think when we first met, you leave a wake, and I intended to with that. So
in a good way.
So in a good way. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. Thanks for all the listeners out there. It's a good way. The beautiful thing about it, and I think I've stated this to you a couple of times, the beautiful thing I think we've always been able to work through is that if there's ever an indifference, we always spoke about it. we always kind of kept a transparent view to it. If we voiced the difference of opinions, we understood it, and then kind of got back to the understanding of what needs to get done, and kind of talked our way in and out of particular situations there. So I'm thankful for that with you there, buddy. It's you kind of, there was times where, like I said, especially during COVID, I remember being, tested mentally on a bunch of different shit where all of a sudden it didn't make sense. And it was,
that was new territory, man. That was tough.
That was beating a different level of drums. Right. So thanks for kind of always, thanks for always seeing that through with me. At the same time, I'm sure it was, there's a couple of times where we leaned on each other. So it was like you said, it's all about the relationship you build.
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth, basically. We did it together. And one of the things that I was always like, listen, people talk about COVID in a negative way. I loved COVID. And I'll tell you why. We were coming off what we talked about earlier, back-to-back years of traveling between 50 and 70%. And honestly, it was closer to 60 to 80%.
Yeah.
We were gone a lot.
Yep.
And when all of that happened, we were just coming back off of a tremendous amount of travel. That first 2020 we had a gangster year planned out. If you remember our strat plan meetings, it was going to be all in.
Well, I'm going to hold you right there, because our strat plans meeting consisted of sitting in a boardroom from a Monday to Friday, knocking out Red Bulls, Gatorades,
Jimmy John's,
beef jerkies, and Jimmy John's. Yeah. So
100%.
And
conquering the world, buddy. That's what it takes. Red Bull, beef jerky.
Right. Yeah.
That's how we conquer the world.
Breakfast champions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we came back from that. It was Anaheim that year. And then we did a Florida rip because we had a bunch going on down south.
And we partied at that point.
We came back, and Anthony and I were out to dinner, and I think Junior was with us. And it all crumbled, and we had to circle the wagons. But going back to why I loved it so much, the world shut down. I couldn't go anywhere. It was a policy not to go into anybody's facility, locally or otherwise, which was okay. We had to reinvent the wheel, which again, an opportunity to build and change and grow. So those work-wise, business-wise, it was what it was. It was pass or fail. We were going to get after it. But I was home. I was home with the family, and I was home more with the family than I'd ever been in the life of my family.
Yep.
And then we rewrote our processes and our policies and our procedures and all those different things we did as a team. I think we communicated better as a team during COVID than we ever did leading up to it.
Mm.
And I think it really made us strong. I saw our friends, our colleagues, Michelle and Marie, find solace in each other and help each other out. And we did our normal check-ins. And, between you and myself and Carl at the time, we had to figure out what the hell we were going to do to keep that revenue going.
Yeah.
And what an absolute challenge. Why we got the luxury of being home with our family. I loved COVID. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, it sure, you know what? It kind of spawned my, I call it my mind break.
Yeah.
And that was fishing. It spawned that full force. So yeah, there's got to be some blessings from that, because it was just a weird time.
I probably shouldn't say I love COVID, and I probably should. There were some downsides of COVID.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was good for us and our team. I think it really made us sharper.
All of this, and like I said, the general progression, succession of your career, from the time that you're into the military into now you're into the private life, and you've stepped up everywhere along the way. What would be your general takeaway of this all? Kind of what's that one step, that first step you can kind of honestly say was the catalyst for levels of succession?
The Vertical MRO Podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Wow.
It's a loaded one. Sorry, dude.
Wow. That's not one. Yeah. That's not. Yeah. I mean, man, I could think of 70. Okay. I don't know that it's a step. It's just the next step.
Fair. That's it.
Doesn't matter when it's hard. We talked a lot about leadership today and the folks that we looked up to and the mentors and stuff like that. My time in the military was, what it showed me was the first thing in the core is mentally I knew I could do anything. There was nothing going to stop that from happening. But really having the leadership in front of me to allow me to do that was big. But to grow in this job, in this industry, my family, first and foremost.
Okay.
First and foremost. Could not, would not, if they didn't have my back, wouldn't happen, couldn't happen. Because it takes a lot. And they carry the burden for us.
I'll throw you one better here. Just kind of talking about this all and knowing your personality, knowing your roots, even from when you told me about when Gramps was involved. And by the way, sorry for his passing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Do a quick toast to him.
Right on. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to him.
Al Jet, infantry soldier, World War II.
Al Jet.
Yeah, 3 months short of 101.
Attaboy. I'll throw you this bone, buddy, because everything that you've talked about today and everything you've spoken about today and everything that you've kind of gone along the way, including the growth, the management, the succession, the listening, the team building, very key and integral parts of a succession plan. But it all, I believe, starts with courage. And I think that is where I think it all starts with you, my friend. So it's you kind of honed in on it and you branched out like a good old oak tree. That your courage pillar is what kind of launched you into where God knows where you're going to end up next, or what kind of level of stratosphere you're shooting into now, buddy.
Thanks,
so
man.
It's
that's cool, Val.
Yeah, I got you on that.
Yeah, listen, I think that both of us realize that you don't have to be so courageous when you know you got your family to back you up.
That's it.
I mean, it's fun to do this with friends. You and I became really close family, over the years, and we could do this for a living, which is awesome.
My brother-in-law paid me a really wicked compliment last night, and kind of he heard me because Howie Murray, who was just in our last podcast there, he was
great couple episodes.
Yeah, he was talking about that, and he goes, "It seems like you're as friends with your customers as you are with me, as you are with anybody else that you just get to meet." It's like, well, why be a dick, right? So be the friend that anybody kind of wants. Just be that nice guy, and kind of everybody really appreciates. So to that, I've built my pillar on that. Just don't be a dick. It's just be a nice guy.
Dude, your friends are on your podcast. You know what I mean? I know, I'm looking at these things and I'm like, look at all these, look, he's rolling out his Rolodex. I mean, he's got all his buddies. I mean, I'm thinking you got to get Derek Swadling. You got to get Pete Hatley. You got to get, Grant Boyder. You got to get Brian Bonk. You got to get, these Sean Sinclair, Mike Canis. I mean, these are our bros. These are the guys, and by the way, I'm leaving 5,000 people out. And by the way, guys, love you. Sorry to leave them, but that's what's fun about our job, is that we have that industry of friends.
As we wind this down here, buddy, like I said, we've covered a lot of your personal successes of this all. When you're kind of looking at what to kind of look at the next level of the MRO side of the world, and this one was kind of more of a relationship and team situation when it comes to the MRO side. So what would be your last piece of advice to kind of like, if someone's building a team, whether it's a sales team or whether it's a repair team or overall team, what's your last piece of advice you can kind of offer anybody kind of listening in on this one?
To build a team?
Sure.
So I'd say you would agree if I said that most times when I bring someone on the team, I give them all of the room to burn me. They get my trust walking in the door. If we've connected on a personal level enough that I'm trusting you into that circle to begin with, I'll let you burn me. And what's the significance of that? I mean, maybe is it too trusting or whatever? But listen, if you got past the first step and we're figuring out how to go forward together, it's going to work out, or we can part ways as friends and recognizing that work out. And I'll give you an example.
Sure.
One of our mechanics, a new guy to aviation, we call him the Phoenix because he always wanted to have a tattoo of the Phoenix on his body somewhere. So, anyway,
okay,
that's a very different day. Shout out to the Phoenix. His name's Jeff Rohrbacher. He's a good guy. He's got a finance degree from Notre Dame. He's been a consultant and been a financial guy for a long, long time. When he got into COVID, he got tired of looking at spreadsheets, and he's got 20 plus years of experience after his finance degree, and he's going to restart. If you looked at his resume, it does not say, hire me, I'm an engine mechanic.
Right.
And actually, Janine was through some shared services was facilitated the preliminary interview, just getting to know the person and what he is. And this guy is so enthusiastic and so grateful for an opportunity. And he goes, I can't believe I got an interview, because if you look at my resume, I shouldn't have an interview for a job like this. So there's a little bit of a leap of faith you got to take with people sometimes, and giving them that space to come in and to try something new and to restart. Man, this guy, Val, he's next level. Like, he's
nice.
Yeah. Like, so he just learned how to balance a rotor, like, in the last 8 months. Mm-hmm. And we get the balance machines calibrated. He comes in, we all learn how to use the balance machine. We all learn how to balance things. We all learn how to calibrate it, these things. A week later, the FAA is coming back for an on-site audit just to check in how you're doing.
Yep. And
Jeff jumps on this, and one of the other senior mechanics and I were standing there like, hey, Jeff, why don't you come over here and demonstrate the balance machine for the FAA guys? And this finance wizard, the Phoenix, out of the blue, puts on this freaking clinic on balancing, how you do it, why you do it, what it does to the engine, what the impact of it is on the engine, how it makes it efficient, effective, etc. And me and the other mechanic are looking at each other like, I mean, we are blown away. So let me circle this back around to getting to how to build a team.
Yep.
It was an opportunity to take someone who is not necessarily in their element, but created an element. And if you take those risks on people, like I said, I'm trusting, I'm willing to take those things. Sometimes you're going to get hurt. Sometimes you're going to get burnt, but sometimes you're going to be blown away. And he's a kick-ass example of, building a team and being blown away. And that's what I would say. If you're going to build a team, you got to get through the initial stuff. And by the way, I always said, if Janine interviews you and she says, hey, go ahead and take a look at this guy, you're in already. You just have to screw it up from there, but she's a great measure. But listen, if we can be in the same room together and talk as people, and you want to get after it, I'll give you all the room in the world to get after it. It's only when you don't want to is when we're going to go different directions. So
solid advice.
I don't know if it is or it isn't.
Solid
That's
advice.
What I do. Take a shot.
Well, you know what, and whoever's listening to this, add that to your portfolio of kind of advice pieces. So there's going to be a ton of pieces of advice, and just kind of add that as someone that's been in the industry 25 years, 6 years now. Yeah. So I'm one more than you. So it's, your reputation. Your reputation is that of a hard grinding individual, and grinding to the good, where you say what you do and you do what you say. So good for you for kind of keeping that up for a quarter of a century, the aerial fart.
Thanks,
so
man. Well, listen, again, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And by the way, the other mechanic was Troy Palmer, good guy.
Okay.
But yeah, I continue to be excited to be around, guys like you and me. We're pals, and we get to meet new people and do new things and go fly and go chase helicopters. And what an absolute blast to be in this industry in a way. It's
yep.
Who would have thought, buddy?
Not I. Not I. It's like I said, a quarter century in, we're still licking the windows when you hear a whop whop over top. Like it's,
dude,
it's, you still get excited about that stuff, right? So that's, to that, I'm still very, very excited. So, and then I get made fun of like, hey, what's that over there? And that's 205. Like sometimes you just know where the regions where you're at, and you know what's flying, you know who they are.
Sure.
So I make myself look really good when I know
whose
what I
like
is when I'm in a particular.
You know what I like is when, because I do that. You do that, I do that. I hear something up like Salt River got themselves a 412. They've been in they've been in the pattern a few times. So I'm like, oh,
yeah, buddy.
Well, that's Salt River, Yeah. So, and being on the airfield has its advantages. We see a lot of T-38s and F-35s and Harriers. I mean, we get the gamut out here, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But the part that charges me up is when I see the guys go and do it.
Last but not least, my friend, as every one of my podcasts has ended, I know your stance on tomatoes and
fruit in general.
The whole.
You know the answer already. Please.
But I'm lagging. I'm lagging here, so I'm losing here. I'm losing by a long shot, and I didn't realize that I was the minority here. But does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Pineapple doesn't belong on anything. But it's gross, like disgusting, like. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yes. Reid's got my back on the pineapple stance. Nice. I'm pulling up.
Hey, well, listen. Let me say this to you. Listen, I cherish our friendship, buddy. Your family. I love watching you win. Always, and I think.
Thanks, bro.
Seeing the people stack up to be on your podcast is a feather in your cap, buddy. You know what I mean? It's no, listen.
Thanks, man.
You earned it all, and it's an honor to be here with you. Cheers, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers to you. Cheers to that,
man.
Cheers to that. I'll drink to that. Having friends like yourself, kind of rep it in the good way, like you said. Robin Sharma always said it best: "You are who you have coffee with." Right. So you surround yourself with successful individuals, and I consider you one of them. So it's right back at you, man. Like much success to you. Much success to you and the family. Much success to every endeavor that you decide to kind of take on, whatever the next stratospheric level you're going to decide to take it on.
It's going to be fun. We're gonna party.
All about the courage, man. Balls out and courage. Balls out and courage. So, thanks a lot for being on the show. Thanks a lot for I'm sure everyone's going to have a good opinion of what we said today. I'm hopefully that they take away that the team is all. When it comes to kind of building one. So when you kind of find the right individuals and you kind of have that beautiful mesh, it's hard to duplicate. So to that, good job on that for kind of really kind of spearing that up. And like you said, you come from good lineage on that one. Like I said, with Anthony and some of the guys that you've worked with in the past. Lucky. So, yep. Lucky to be good, man. Lucky to be good. So thanks for coming on board with that. To our listeners, if you like this podcast and any other ones that you have heard in the past, hit that like, hit that subscribe. And to that, I will say adieu. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next podcast. Thanks for listening to Vertical MRO. Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsors, Safe Structure Designs. Safe Structure Designs specializes in custom aircraft maintenance stands and hangar equipment, boosting hangar efficiency by 50% and enhancing technician safety. With over 20 years of experience alongside real-world aircraft technicians, SAFE develops industry-leading ergonomic safety solutions. Why not take advantage of SAFE's free custom design process for your safety and efficiency needs and let them create your ideal solution? Visit www.safe-2.com to learn more.
Val Training Academy proudly supports Vertical Helicasts. Experience hands-on technical training with dedicated maintenance aircraft to keep your skills sharp and your Bell aircraft operating at peak performance. Register for a technical course by September 30th and get $100 to Bell's gift shop. visit bell.co/training. The Vertical MRO Podcast is powered by Vertical Magazine, the rotorcraft industry's #1 trusted multimedia resource. Visit Vertical Mag Media on YouTube to gain access to exclusive videos featuring operators in the field and more unique content from the pages of Vertical. Subscribe today to stay informed and inspired.
Hey, everybody, and that wraps up today's episode of Innovators Unplugged. You've got a privilege of listening to Reid, the Vice President of GM of ETI. Reid, thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experiences with us. Your insights into the aviation and helicopter industry, leadership, and innovation are truly inspiring. Your journey and strategic vision are nothing short of remarkable. To our listeners, we hope you found this conversation as enlightening as I did. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us continue to bring you inspiring stories from leaders like Reid. On behalf of our Vertical Helicast team, thanks for listening, and we appreciate being a part of your world. May your skies be blue and keep those rotors turning, baby. I'm Val Medved. This is Vertical MRO. Val, over and out.
This has been the Vertical MRO Podcast. Join us next time for another edition of the Vertical MRO Podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts.